Hi everyone, a very warm welcome back to the MEC-TEC garage. And as you can see, I've got the trusty old black cab actually in the garage today. The reason for that is because it's really windy outside and I've got to do a little bit of paint work because I didn't want, obviously, paint and overspray flying everywhere. The issue we've got to sort out is on this driver's door. There's a scab on it, on the bottom of it, where a stone's come up and hit it, and obviously it's got water under it over time. This is previous to when I got the cab and it's blown a little bit, so we just need to buzz it back. I'm going to try and keep the repair as local as I can, so because I don't want to be painting the whole bottom of the door, so that it's all nice and looking presentable for the TFL plating test, which is in 3 days time. So that is one job we've got to sort out. Another job that I want to try and sort out is the rear seat has developed a really annoying squeak and I can't stop it for love nor money, so I need to take the back, I think it's the back of the rear seat, we're going to take the whole lot out, see where it's rubbing. It sounds like metal on metal, as if one of the springs in the rear of the seat is actually rubbing on the frame somehow. So we need to take that out and have a look at that. And there may be a couple of other jobs that I've forgotten at the moment, but let's start off with this door because that's the most important thing. Get you set up on a tripod and I'll show you what we've got. Rightio, as you can see there, this is the scab I was talking about. It started off as a chip and it has got a little bit bigger actually since I've had the cab. So I want to try and just local this little area if I can. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to try my best to sort that out. And also we've got another little one here, which is, get it in the reflection right, it's a bit difficult to see, but there's another chip there as well. Now I actually cleaned this cab yesterday, believe it or not. Look at the state of it. I've just had to wipe the bottom of the door down again, where it rained last night. So I'm going to give this a bit of a clean up, this bottom of this door again, with some panel wipe, to get all the residue off of it. I didn't want to wash it again because I didn't want water getting trapped underneath this moulding and then running down on my new paintwork that I'm going to try and do. So I want to get this cleaned up and I want to get my little belt sander I've got here and just try and obviously locally rub this back, see what we can do and see what it goes back to. Obviously get some rust treatment on there as well on both of those little areas. So I'll get it cleaned up and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, as you can see there now, in that bit of time lapse I've buzzed that back. You can see the sort of area in the middle where the majority of the corrosion is. Now obviously I don't want to be cutting bits out of doors and things like that, so what I'm going to do is obviously treat it with the Neutra Rust. You can see it's clean metal all round it. I may make this a complete square so it's easier to mask up, and obviously once it's got the couple of coats of the corrosion rust treatment on it, then we can maybe get a little bit of extra primer on it, and I'm going to try and keep it, as I say, as local as I possibly can. So with the primer, I'm going to try and mask it exactly to the line that I've ground back so that the paint depth is similar when I put the black on. In fact, I've just noticed there's a little bit there that I haven't done, which is spidering out into the paint, and you can see that or not there, my finger is a little line in the paint, so I'm going to have to get that bit as well. But yeah, that's the start of it. Unfortunately it's not that big, as you can see, but I didn't want it to get any worse, and obviously I don't know whether they're going to pick up on it on the test. It didn't last year, but obviously it's got slightly worse since then, so I should have addressed it when I first saw it really, and make it obviously better, but hey ho. So I'm going to do the same with this one over here, that one there. That one's nowhere near as big, but obviously I need to do something with it, the same sort of thing. There's actually a little one up there as well, but that's just a little spider, so I might try and get away with that one. The paintwork on these cabs and the metal quality is pretty naff, to be honest with you, from previous experience of the old cab and this one now. And I think the old one was built in Coventry and this one was built in China, so it says it all, doesn't it really? So right, I'm going to get some rust treatment on that and carry on going. Right, as you can see there now, I've just buzzed that other little one back. It's a lot smaller, that one. Obviously need to put a little bit of rust treatment on that, not much. It's cleaned up really well actually. It's not got very much rust in that one at all. This one I've made squarer, and as you can see I've put some tape around it, so I'm actually going to go around the edge of this by hand now and just try and feather that edge in a little bit, just so that I've not got such an abrupt ending to the paint. I'm going to use a little bit of probably 240 on that, just to try and feather the edge in and get it square. It's probably not going to be an invisible repair, this one, but it'll be what it'll be, and hopefully it'll be good enough for them to pass, because obviously remember it is a workhorse as such, so it's not going to be pristine, because with the greatest respect of all the customers I have in London, they don't give a toss about my cab, so they just get in and jump in and smack it and open the doors onto things and curbs and all the rest of it. So, you know, is what it is. But let's get some rust treatment on it now. Well, actually no, I'm going to rub the edges back first, and I'm going to get some rust treatment on it and go from there. Let's carry on. Right, as you can see there now, got that. I've got 3 coats of that rust stuff on there now, and you can see it's gone really dark, so hopefully that should do the trick on both of them there. And I've also got the whole area taped up so I can get some primer on it. I'm just going to try and dust a little bit of primer of it, because this rust treatment is actually self-priming, but I just thought I'd put a little bit over it as well, just to obviously try and build a little bit of thickness back up in the area that I've rubbed back to metal, so that it matches what's around it, and also it gives me something to rub back as well if I get some primer on there, to hopefully get it as smooth as possible. So I'm going to get that sprayed, let that dry, and then do a little bit of rubbing down and go from there. Let's carry on. Right there, as you can see there now, got the areas unmasked as such, and I'm going to just go over these now with some fine wet and dry, and I'm going to do it wet as well, because I want to get rid of this edge, and then I'm going to remask it with a soft edge, so I can overlap this very slightly with the black, and hopefully that will allow me enough to be able to polish it both in. Polish it in so you don't notice it too much. As I say, you're probably going to be able to see a little bit of undulation where the rust was. I'm not going to get involved with filler and stuff like that. I just want to get it so that it's protected and looks presentable. That's all I'm trying to achieve. It's not going to be 100% invisible, but it'll be as good as I can get it. Let's carry on. As you would have seen in that bit of time lapse, I've rubbed that back so it's got a feathered edge all the way around it now, and I've tried to sort of almost keep the primer in the area that I've rubbed back to metal. Now this isn't dead smooth. If I was being ultra critical, really I could be putting a skim of filler on it, which I'm still on the fence about. Same with this one, I've rubbed this one down too, the same. The perfectionist in me is coming out, and I want to try and get it as smooth as I can, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, whether I'm just going to paint it as it is and leave it be, or whether I'm going to try and put a little skim of filler over it. Haven't decided yet. It's bugging me that it's not smooth. I can't help it, it's just the way I am. So I may mask it up and just put a little skimmer filler over the top of these just so I can get it as flat as possible. And it's very difficult because obviously I'm trying to keep them small, and rubbing down filler in these two little areas to get it smooth and to blend in is going to be quite difficult, I'd think. So that's why I'm on the fence about doing it at the moment. I'll make a decision and you'll see the outcome in a minute, I guess. Let's carry on. Yeah, okay, I'm a tart, I can't help it. Right, I've got a little skim of filler over those just to try and make it as flat as possible. Same with that one, you would have seen in the time lapse there. So let's let them dry off, and I'm gonna probably put some gaffer tape. I'm gonna take this masking tape off, put some gaffer tape around it, so that's quite sturdy and thick, and then hopefully that will allow me to use this little small block to just get that as flat as possible without going too far obviously into the good paintwork. That's the plan. So I'll let this go off, retape it with gaffer tape, and then we'll give it a rub down, and hopefully then it'll be fairly smooth and we can get some black paint on it. Well, probably actually have to do a little bit of primer over it again and then some black paint. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see there now, I've got that rub back primed with a feathered edge this time, and I'm just going to go over that possibly with a little, well, I might not even need it actually. I was going to say I was going to go over it with a little bit of wet and dry, but probably be alright. Now I purposely left the primer just inside the paint, or on the edge of the filler edge, so that I can then fade the black out over the top of it so that there's not an edge. So the reason I've pulled the tape back off again is so I can move the feathered edge out to where I've rubbed down. You can see it there, it's got a little bit around the edge, so I can get black over that section, and then it'll overlap a little bit to allow me a little bit to come back to polish it back with. That's the plan. This one I've still got masked up at the moment, it's just dry. It is dry, it's just I haven't unmasked that one yet, so I'm going to get this one remasked further out with a soft edge and then get some black on it, see what it looks like. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see there now, on this first repair that I was doing, I've actually retaped it again, slightly bigger again, and I've run a Scotch pad over the new black paint and the existing black paint to try to blend it, so when I lacquer it, it'll just hopefully blend in nice with any luck. So I'm going to get a little coat of lacquer on this now. Now it's not absolutely smooth, but I'm hoping when I put the lacquer on that will smooth it out, and hopefully should look reasonably good. Now, as I said in the beginning, this is not going to be an invisible repair by any stroke of imagination. I'm obviously doing it in a very confined area, and I'm no expert on paintwork. I get by, but I'm no expert, so I'm just doing what I can with it. So go easy on me. Right, I want to get some lacquer on this and I'll show you what it's like after. Rightio, this is the stage that I'm at with the front repair. Like I said, it's not an invisible repair. You know, I'm trying to paint a patch in the middle of a black door, so you're never going to make it disappear unless you're an absolute brilliant professional painter, which I definitely am not. You can see, obviously it's a little bit more, I have flat and polished it, but it's a little bit more mottled than the rest of it. And if you get it in the right light, you can see the edges. See? So obviously I haven't lost it as nicely as I would like. But obviously from sort of 10 foot away or 6 foot away, when you're standing up, you shouldn't see it, hopefully. So, and that is all it needs to be, and it is obviously protected as well, as far as hopefully it's not going to go rusty anymore like it was before, because obviously all the rubbish off the wheels gets sprayed up right there. So yeah, it's not perfect. I'm not massively happy with the repair, if I'm honest, and I may revisit it in the future, but for now it is what it is, I'm afraid. I've only got, this is Monday now, I've only got tomorrow, Tuesday, and then I've got the test Wednesday. So I think that is good enough to pass. I don't think it's that noticeable as far as I say, when you're standing. Well, let me get up and see. I haven't even stood up yet. Bearing in mind we're sitting in a garage with a light on it, and all the reflection. There's me in the reflection. Look, hello. Hang on a second. Let me get up. Right. So let me see. So from up here, I mean, look, there's a yellow cloth under that, so it should reflect really bad. If anything, you can see it's there, but it's not horrendous. So please don't crucify me in the comments, but I'm going to go with that, I think, for now, and see what they've got to say about it. Hopefully it'll pass. As I say, there's no rust there now. At least it is smooth, although you can feel the edges where I've obviously masked it out and masked it out again. There's not a lot I can do about that, apart from re-rubbing it back down again and trying to fade it out better. But I don't see how I'm going to be able to fade it out better, because I've got no edges apart from this edge here, which I've lost it on fine. I've got no other edges apart from the edge of the door and coming right up to the moulding here to lose it on. So yeah, that's the predicament at the moment. The other repair over there, I've got the black paint on. I have just polished it, but it has gone through slightly because I polished it before I put the lacquer on. You can see the edges of that one as well. But again, it was a rusty scab in the middle of a black door, so you know, you're never going to get rid of it completely unless you do the whole bottom of the door, which I'd rather have the majority of the door original factory paint shiny and a couple of little bits that aren't quite right than the whole lot looking not very good at all. That was my thinking behind it. So I'm going to put a little bit more black on this one, I think. I may even rub that back again and try and feather that edge in a bit more. Another coat of black, or 2 coats of black, and then I'll put some lacquer over it, and then I'll obviously flat and polish it the same as I have with this one over here. So yeah, that's where we're at. As I say, I'm not mega happy with it, but you know, I haven't got the skill to lose that any better than I have, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm waffling. I'm going to carry on. Right, I wasn't happy, so I've took some thinners to it and gone back to basics. Gone back to the filler. I'm going to rub this, I'll actually put a little skim over that again, I think, because it's got a few little imperfections I'm not very happy with. I'm going to put another little skim over that, get that better. Same with this one. Just try and get it the best I can. I'm banging my head up against a brick wall, I think, trying to get these two in the middle of a door to look half decent, but I couldn't cope with it the way it was. It just wasn't good enough. So I'm going to have another go at it, and I'll come back to you when I've got a bit more progress. Rightio, this is the stage we're at the minute. I've actually re-rubbed down both the areas. I've got this one re-primed and painted with black, but only in the centre, so that it builds the layers back out again, and that is a lot smoother now. Rather than having a raised square, it's almost the same height. So what I'm actually going to do now, I've unmasked it where I had a feathered edge, and now I'm going to blow it over the top again with black to obviously cover this area that I've sanded so that it's smooth, and that will obviously then take up the slack between the new paint and the old paint, and hopefully give me a fairly smooth finish over the top. And then obviously I can lacquer it after that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right to the edge of the door. Should have done this before, I think. I was trying to do it in too smaller area. That was the problem. Didn't have enough room to lose it, as far as not lose the plot, lose the paint. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and hopefully I'll get a better result by doing it that way. So I'm going to go to the edge of the door. There is gaffer tape on that wing, so that's why that's already black, because there's gaffer tape on it. I'm going to dust this in with a bit of paint over the top of that, and I'm going to obviously try and keep it fairly thin towards the edges so that it fades out nice. That's the plan anyway. And I'm going to do the same with that one. So that one I've done the same thing with primer. I've just given it a first coat of black just on the very small area in the middle to build the layers back out again, and obviously I'm going to do the same again and try and fade it in a bit better. So yeah, we're progressing again, but it's all a learning curve. Let's carry on. Rightio, it is the next day, and I've let this dry overnight. I haven't flat and polished it yet, but the result, you can just about see the outline of where I rubbed that paint back there in the reflection, just about here. The result is a lot better. I've not got the squares around it, and the edges faded out a lot nicer. Same with this one. Sorry, bars on the screen. Same with this one. Let's get a little bit of light there. You can see I've not flat and polished it yet. You can just about see the line in the middle of it. So I'm going to get this flat and polished, both of them. I'm going to get them out, get it out on the drive, get it all unmasked, and have a look at it properly in the light, see what we get. I've done my absolute best with this, so I don't know what it's going to come out like. As I say, I have done it twice now, so I wasn't happy with it the first time round. So we'll flat and polish it, see what we get. Rightio, as you would have seen, bit of time carefully flattening and polishing, and I'm a lot happier with the result. As I say, it's not an invisible repair. You can see a bit of distortion here, but it is a lot better than what it was before. And you can't see, you can just about see a paint edge. I polished that in. I'm pretty chuffed with that. I haven't got it out of the garage yet to have a look, see what it looks like in the light, but that is all right. As I say, it's not perfect, don't get me wrong. It's not, you know, it's not going to win any prizes, but it keeps the cab on the road and stops it rusting, and that's what I'm all for. And you can see the other one just there. You can just about see with that yellow reflection in the what is that reflecting? Don't know what it is. The cloth on the floor, maybe. You can just about see it there. Again, the edges have faded in a lot better. It's not invisible, but it's acceptable, put it that way. It's acceptable. I'm a lot happy with it. So from standing up 6 feet away, I don't think you're going to notice that at all. I'm going to get the cab out of the garage now and see what it looks like outside. Right, sorry about the wind noise. If it's very windy here at the moment. This is it, obviously outside. You can see the rest of the cab is absolutely filthy. The bottom of this door is clean. It's not perfect, as I said. You can see imperfections in the lacquer. It has got a little bit of cloudiness in the corner of the lacquer there for some reason. I don't know why. And there's a couple of little white spots in it as well. But it is what it is. You know, it looks tidy. You can't see it unless you really look for it. Same with that one. It's got like white spots in the lacquer. I don't know why. You can see it there. See the Puma reflecting in it. But yeah, I may have to redo that one again. That's not very good, that one. I don't like that. But I've done the best I can in the time frame I've got at the moment, and that is what I've come up with. So yeah, from back here it looks absolutely fine. Up close not so much, but yeah, it is what it is. So I've done the best I can. I've got a couple of little scabs just started on that corner there as well, so I may have to do the whole bottom of the door at some point, or even get it done in a body shop maybe, just so that it all blends in nice. So yeah, that's that repair done. So the next thing we've got to do now is change one of the rear bump stops, because one of them has pretty much disintegrated. They're only made out of foam, so got a new one of those to go on. So I'll get you set up under the cab and we'll go from there. Okay, you can see up there the offending article, the rubber sort of bump stop, or foam bump stop I should say, behind the wheel there. See the end of it's all disintegrating and coming away, so it basically just pulls off. So I'm just going to take that off. I'll show you when I get it out. And there's like a sort of nodule thing on the top of the subframe which it just pushes onto, so hopefully won't even have to jack it up. I'll get this taken out and I'll show you. There you go, look, seconds and it just pulled out. Look, it's absolutely mullered. Nothing left of that at all. You can see it just pushes on. So I'm going to get that swapped out. I've got a genuine one here, so hopefully it will last a little bit longer than a cheapo one. See you there, LEVC, which is London Electric Vehicle Company as they're called now. It used to be LTI, which is London Taxi International, but that's obviously changed since they started making electric cabs. So that basically just pushes onto that bit up there. You can see, you can see under there that it's got like a sort of thing sticking down, like a little sort of peg that just literally just pushes onto, and that's all it is. So just for obviously when there's a lot of weight in the back of the cab and springs bottom out, it hits that foam rather than making a big clanging noise. Let's carry on. There you go, new one's on. I couldn't film it because I couldn't get under in the gap and film it at the same time. It basically literally just pushes on. You just have to sort of turn it as you push it and it just pops on. So that should be good to go. The other side is still alright, funny enough. So this side's obviously taken more of a hammering than the other side. So yeah, that's good. Next thing I want to try and sort out is the squeaky rear seat that I've seemed to have got all of a sudden. Don't know where it's come from, but I need to sort it out because it's driving me nuts. Let's carry on. Rightio, with everything taken out the boot, obviously you can see there's not a great deal in a cab boot apart from the spare wheel, the ramp, a few tools and bits and bobs that I keep in there. Now the noise you can hear, I'll pull this back, hopefully you can hear this. Hang on, where's the seat? When you touch the seat, see it's got that spring in the back of the seat there, and then someone's sitting in it, you can hear a noise. Bet I won't be able to redo it now. Can't replicate it now. Typical, isn't it? That noise. It's only when someone sits in this side on the driver's side rear seat. So it's something to do with this seat back. So I'm going to have a little look at this, see if I can see anything rubbing anywhere, and obviously try and sort out whatever it is. Let's carry on. Just so you can hopefully hear this a little bit better. That is the noise I'm getting. It's literally the most annoying thing ever, and I cannot work out why it's doing it. So it's definitely on this side. I think it's from the bottom there. I cannot work out for the life of me why. So I'm just going to have a little look around and see if I can find... There's only two 10mm bolts in the bottom of this, which I've undone. God, that's an annoying noise. I've just got to work out how this comes out, because I've never had this out before, so it's a bit of a investigation work required. I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, it looks like I found it. You can see where I'm shining the torch here. That piece of metal, someone's actually sat in the seat so hard it snapped the spot weld off. See that moving? You can or not, but the other side's totally solid, and this is obviously where the seat bolts to, so that's no good. So I'm going to have to actually get in there somehow without setting the cab alight and run a little bead of weld along there, because some kind passenger has unfortunately broken the tack welder or the spot weld off of that frame there, and that is what is causing my squeak, because obviously it's metal on metal and it's just squeaking away. So I'm going to have to break the welder out, I think, and try and sort this out. Oh joy, let's carry on. Rightio, I've actually got the cab backed into the garage now, so I didn't have to drag the welder right out onto the drive. As you can see, I've got the carpet pulled back, and I've got a piece of wood there covering all the material, so we hopefully don't set fire to anything. Now this wire's there going to be the only issue, but I've put a load of gaffer tape around it. I know gaffer tape's not flame resistant, but I'd rather it melt the gaffer tape than melt the plastic that this wire's in. So that was my thinking behind that. Obviously I've rubbed that back there now. Tried to get the best clean metal I can on it, and we're just going to have to go for it and see how we get on. Let's carry on. There we go guys, all welded up. Not particularly pretty I know, but very strong and it'll do the job. And I haven't set anything alight. Carpet's still all intact and everything else, as you can see there. So that's all fine. The bit of wood there did its job, so that's great. So now I'm going to get a little bit of the old cold zinc galv spray on that, stop it rusting, and then go over it with a little bit of black after. And that should hopefully keep it protected and stop it rusting with any luck. And hopefully, when I get hold of this now, I'm trying not to get strobe lines on the screen. Let's zoom out. There you go, no more squeak. Yep, it's gone. Thank goodness for that. When I did that before, obviously where this was rubbing against itself, it was making a hell of a, well, you heard it didn't you? It was a hell of a racket. But so now I can get the two bolts put back in the bottom, one either side, pull this back, and I'll be squeak free. Woohoo! Okay, as you can see in there now, I've got a little bit of etch primer just drying on it at the moment. I can't actually find my cold zinc galv spray, but I'll put etch primer on it and I'll put some paint over it so it'll do the same thing. Also, I've got the cab jacked up with the wheel off, and just to obviously try and protect it under here, you'll see where that masking tape is. I've put some etch primer on the underside as well, because this is where the weld had penetrated through. You can see it has a nice penetration on the weld, so that's great. And obviously I didn't want it to go rusty, so I've put a bit of etch primer on that. I'm also going to put some stone chip over that as well, and then also I'm going to run some sealer around this edge so that it seals the edge of the existing rubbery under seal that's on here, because obviously I don't want that to start peeling off. So once that's dry, I'll put some stone chip on it to protect it, and then I'll put some sealer over it as well. Obviously you're not going to see it under there, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like as long as it's protected and it's not going to go rusty. That is the main thing. You can see the new bump stop bush there. Now I've got the wheel off. I had to take the wheel off in the end anyway, so hey ho, let's carry on. Okay, as you can see there now, bottom of that is all stone chipped, and also I've got some seal around the edge of it to seal the edge of the existing rubber sealant that's on there. So that's all done, lovely jubbly. Don't mind if that gets dirty. And inside here, you saw on the time lapse, that is now painted black and should be nice and protected. So I'm going to pop that rubber bum back in, get all this insulation put back in, and then obviously get all the boot put back together, and we should be good to go. Lovely jubbly, let's carry on. So the big question is, did it pass its yearly overhaul? Of course it did, no problems at all, straight through. So that is really good. All the work we've done has been worthwhile, and it's on the road as a cab for another year, so that's good. I've still got that clonk in that, which is really annoying, so I'm gonna have to get that back up in here and have a look at that with you at some point. But yeah, on another note, I have passed 500 subscribers, so to everyone who has subscribed, very much appreciated, thank you so much. And if you are new to the channel, you haven't subscribed, where have you been? I have got quite a few different playlists now of different cars: Cavaliers, Fiestas, DeLoreans, Reliant vans, Capris, MX-5s, Pumas, you name it. So if you haven't seen my past history, there's quite a few videos on there now. Have a little look and maybe consider subscribing if you are new. Remember, I have got Instagram, MEC_TEC 1985, and I have got Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.